Hi friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to start my September flashback reading vlog. Don't know what this series is about. It's a series that I filmed over the course of the year and I'm posting them this month so you have quality content to watch while I reread some of my favorites and gather up my favorite books and the worst books that I read throughout the year so I can have a great list for my best and worst of 2020. But also it just gives me a chance to enjoy the holidays with my friends and my family, and it gives you a little sneak peeks. Like, it reminds you, what was I reading in February? What was I reading in, March? Or this month I am starting off with Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell, which is an ARC I received kindly from Atria, so thank you so much to Atria. This book actually doesn't come out until next month, but obviously when you're watching this video this book will already be out, so if you have not already purchased it, you'll be able to hear my thoughts and decide if you want it, like for Christmas or whatever. I think it has two different perspectives. It follows two different main characters. We get two different perspectives, and I've read other books by Lisa Jewell before and I really enjoyed them, so I know I like her writing. So I'm really excited to get to this one. I don't honestly know too much about this one because they just randomly sent this one to me because they know I love thrillers. But I have heard they had like a little promo sheet that went with it, and they said it's a story of secrets and injustices. Not very far into the book. I'm only on chapter 3, page 10, and I have stuff I want to talk to you about. So the tabs up top here, the orange ones, are for different POVs, so I can remember exactly the different POVs and like how many POVs there were. So far we have 2 POVs. We have Kate, spelled with a C, C-A-T-E, and then we have this character who I'm gonna have to look it up, but for now I'm gonna call her Saf, because Safri, I don't know. Anyway, so she's the first point of view. Well, okay, let me back up. We start off with this little, I don't know, prelude, and it's Valentine's night, and it's just this one little thing right here. And it doesn't tell you any characters' names or anything like that. And I already have a theory of like who it could be, but I'm sure it'll pop up again. Then we start part 1 before. And you start with Saf's point of view, and she is 17 years old. She's mostly Welsh on her dad's side, and partly Trinidadian, partly Malaysian, and a tiny bit French from her mom. So she's mixed, and I love reading about mixed race people because, I need more of that in my life. And also I found out that she self-harmed. So she would hurt herself, and how she self-harmed is exactly how I used to self-harm. So, or one of the ways. Anyway, so yeah, so trigger warning for self-harm. And then the next page is the second POV, Kate, and she is the mom of Georgia, and Georgia's calling her saying that like someone's following her. So then that's when I went back to the little prequel or whatever, prelude, and I said, oh, maybe that was her. And then on the 3rd chapter we meet Roan, who is, so Kate's the mom, Roan's the dad, he's a doctor, and then Georgia is the daughter, and Roan is also Saf's doctor, because she said that she got sent to Roan. So yeah, anyway, that's where I am so far. I'm, like I said, not very far at all. Oh, I'm a little bit further than this. Well, anyway, I'm like about there. Anyway, that's the update so far. One thing I've really liked doing lately to just really focus and give myself reading time, uninterrupted reading time, is I'm using the Forest app on my phone. So I'm gonna plant a tree. I'm gonna set an timer for an hour. trying to find a place to put you so I can update you. I actually haven't read a lot today, guys. I had to do a lot of research for my secret project, which you guys know about now, but just in case there's any slippage, I don't want to talk about it yet. So anyway, I'm reading this and I am 60 almost pages in. I'm on page 59 and we're about to go into our third POV. And I got dinner in the oven. We're having Stouffer's veggie lasagna, which is delicious, and it's got about like 5 minutes left, and then it's got to sit out and cool down a little bit so we can cut it and eat it. But the rest of the plan for today is to read this. From my walk. I'm hot and sweaty, so you're just gonna have to watch me hot and sweaty. First, I wanted to offer you, well, let me look what the temperature is, because guys, it is so freaking hot out there. Right now it is 9:49 a.m. and it is 84 degrees, and it's supposed to get up to 93 today. And the humidity is 78%. So it already feels right now like 97 degrees out there. So up until about page 58, I was really enjoying it. I had two different perspectives. I was really intrigued. It was really interesting. And then we got to Owen's POV, and it just really slowed down and got really weird. And it mentioned something that it mentioned in the like press release of the book, and I think that's going to be a big part of the story. So I don't quite think I'm interested in that, but everything is kind of tying together, so I'm hoping it continues to do that. But when I got to page 58 and then I went into the third part, initially it was interesting, and then it just went down. So that's why it took me like forever to read just like these 40 pages or whatever it was. So I don't know. I'm hoping it's gonna pick back up. We shall see. This book is, of course, I have the ARC, so my ARC copy is 353 pages. So I still have 250-ish pages left. I've had my chiropractor appointment. I did some business calls that I had to make, and I am making progress on book. There we are. I am making progress on the book. I'm currently on page 213, so I don't know, like 140 pages. I just put a whole bunch of conditioner in my hair. You guys know I'm doing the curly girl method, and one of the things that you have to fight when you have curly hair is having the correct amount of moisture in your hair. So I just thought while I sit here and read, I could just douse my hair with conditioner and then kind of rinse it out. I didn't get like every strand, like there's still a lot of dry stuff back there, but I normally wash my hair on Sundays. That's like, I think, the day I like to wash my hair. Haven't really decided, haven't really worked it out. I'm just kind of going with the flow. It is later in the day. Don't even have my watch on. Whoops. But I'm here with a reading update, and then I want to update you about something else as well. So I finished Invisible Girl by Lisa Jewell, and I don't know, you guys. I think it's gonna be a 3 out of 5 stars. That's what I rated it on Goodreads. But I always feel bad rating arcs because things could be changed in the final copy. So the main issue that I had with this is there's 3 different parts and there's 3 different perspectives. So you have like I said, 3 different perspectives. I guess the main storyline is that a girl has gone missing, but you don't know which girl that is, even though it's weird because like in the I guess she's the editorial director for Atria. There's like this little thing in here and it says Invisible Girl starts on a frigid Valentine's Day in a suburban just north of London when a beautiful and troubled teenager goes missing. And I'm like, I didn't know that the teenage girl went missing until well into the story. Like I knew something happened and I don't know, it was just, I thought that the story was good. Now there are trigger warnings for self-harm, for rape, and for, there was something else. I wrote it on my Goodreads. Infidelity. So there are those trigger warnings, but I thought like overall it was a good story. I liked seeing from the different perspectives and seeing how the story like wove itself together. But I enjoyed 2 perspectives more than I did the 3rd perspective. So every time I was reading that person's perspective, I never knew if what they were being accused of was like real or not. Like, are they an unreliable narrator? Valentine's night. And then it jumped into part 1, before. This was before, this was after, and this was the now. So you could tell that the parts were not equal. And this, like, before and after what? Because the timeline was so jumbled, and I don't know if there were just like chapters out of place, and like I knew it started on Valentine's night, but in each of the parts they would talk about Valentine's night, and they would talk about like December and January, and I'm like, okay, is this, it'd be in the before, and I'm like, okay, so obviously this is before the Valentine's Day, but then they talk about that stuff in the after, and so I don't know, I was just really confused. Hello friends, I'm back. I took a little break because I needed to read some other things. Starting an arc on my Kindle. I got this arc from NetGalley. It's called If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier. It comes out in January 2021. I'm at 10%, so I'm definitely gonna have to charge this today. But I was initially intrigued by the cover, so I'm going to insert that for you. I was initially intrigued on the cover because it reminds me a lot of this cover, Wilder Girls, the face with like things coming out of it, which I still think this cover is like so freaking pretty. Yeah, so I was originally intrigued by the cover. Then I read the synopsis and that sounded really good. So I requested it, I got approved, I was so happy. And guys, I have been loving like podcast thrillers. Sadie is right here. It's one of my all-time favorites. It has podcast elements in it. See? The Girls episode, the Girls theme song, and then it does like interview format. Love that. Also, The Night Swim by Megan Golding, which also has podcast elements in it. Right here. It's called Guilty or Not Guilty, and it has like the transcript and stuff like that. So I love podcasts in my thrillers, and this is a thriller, and it doesn't have like the podcast actual episodes yet, plus I'm not listening to it, and I love listening to books that have podcast elements so I can like hear the actual podcasts, because I'm a podcaster now, which is so crazy. But and I have listened to true crime podcasts for years. So I definitely love it in my thrillers, and I'm always seeking more. So again, if you have any thrillers with podcast elements, please, please, please let me know. In this story, I guess a true crime podcaster went missing, and the listener is searching for the podcaster. So she's kind of following clues that were clues, I'll say, because like, are they really clues or were they just parts of her podcasts? Yeah. And it's so good. I'm literally at like 6%. I think I read like the first 2 chapters or something. Like, I'm barely into it, but it is so good so far. Hi, I just wanted to kind of update you what's happening besides my neighbor's dogs are barking. Let me try to find a quieter spot. It is so fall outside today. It is so nice. There is a breeze. I don't know if you could see that in the tree. It just feels like fall out here, and I am living for it. So me and my husband are actually about to head out. Look at the clouds. You see? It's just sorry guys. Let's take a moment. I'm loving this weather. It's my favorite weather. It's like you can wear a t-shirt, but like I also have on leggings. Anyway, so I started setting up my bullet journal for October, and with that comes like I do the months. Like I do a month like for personal things like appointments and stuff, and then I do a month for video ideas. So I started talking to my husband about my video ideas for October. I think that I'm gonna do Saturday uploads. Like I think that's like my new schedule. I don't know, I haven't figured it out yet. Obviously by the time you're watching this, hopefully I've figured it out, but I wanted to go scout some areas for a video idea that I want to do, and he liked that idea as well. So we're about to go hike around a couple, there's 3 different locations. If the first location works, we don't even need to go to the other locations because the first location is obviously the closest. Then we'll go to the second closest and the third closest. Hopefully one of those 3 places work, but I just thought I would like take you with me because we're going to go on a little hike in these little like parkish areas. I am here with my final update. I just finished If I Disappear by Eliza Jane Brazier, which again, I will try to remember to insert the picture for you because I really do like the cover. This one was quite weird. I didn't really know like too much, obviously, going into it. It is an arc. I'm gonna have a very hard time writing up a review for this book. I'm having a hard time coming up with a rating, to be completely honest. This was just so weird, and I think I definitely would have benefited from listening to this on audiobook, because anytime there's a podcast element, I like to listen to it because you're supposed to listen to podcasts. And I almost like, the story almost felt like it was a like someone was having like a mental breakdown and she had like a split personality or something. So I think I really would have benefited from knowing that the podcast elements are read in this voice and the main character's part is read in this voice, like a distinction. So I know that there are 2 different people, and then I'm not trying to think that this is like a split personality case the entire time. Creepy stuff definitely happens. If you like secluded stories, it wasn't like 100% secluded, but you did feel very trapped in the location. You felt very secluded at this like ranch, this retreat ranch thing. I told you in the beginning that it's about a listener of a true crime podcast that goes looking for the host who disappeared. So she ends up tracking her down like based on her social media and stuff like that, and going to her family's like ranch house. And it's the off season, so nobody's there except for like one ranch hand and like the mom and the dad, and everything's weird. The cats are weird, the horses are weird, the dogs are weird, the dad's weird, the mom's weird. There were so many instances like that the main character felt like she was being watched. I highlighted all of, like I started highlighting those parts in the arc, just because it was happening so often. These are all different things of like I'm being watched, and there's that page and then there's that, and I definitely only started, you know, probably like halfway through the book, but I have never felt so watched. Then later, exact same thing in the exact same chapter, I have never felt so watched. How can I look for you when there is always someone watching, but everyone is watching me? There must be someone out there watching me. A funny feeling creeps into my veins, like I'm being watched. Someone is watching me. The reason I felt watched, you were watching. So there's definitely like lots of like ominous vibes throughout the story, but like the story as a whole, I just felt like, I don't know, it was just crazy, and I couldn't even imagine like where the story was going to end up, like what was going to actually happen at the end. And then what happened at the end to me felt so out of left field that I was kind of like, wow, like it was believable, but it was unbelievable at the same time. Like it kind of came out of left field, but it was kind of cool at the same time. And then at the very, very end, it twists again and something else is revealed or something, and you almost don't know if it's going to leave you with like this ambiguous ending. Like you don't know if this happened or this happened, but then something at the very, very end happens and you're kind of like, what happened? What is actually happening? So I do feel a little confused by the ending. This is a book that I would like to check out for my library when it releases in January 2021, and I would like to listen to it on audio because I think having the podcast elements mixed in will help. And I think for now I'm just gonna give it a 3 stars. Like I said, definitely creepy vibes, like creepy family, creepy setting, weird animals, things happening, things dying, nobody like concerned about this missing podcaster except for this random listener. I don't know. It's just really weird. So if you're looking for a weird story, I would recommend this. Not like weird like Bunny, but like weird like interesting but confusing, if that makes any sense. But that's all for this September flashback reading vlog. I hope you have enjoyed. If you're wondering what color is on my nails, I will have it linked in the description box down below, and I will see you guys again in another flashback reading vlog very soon. Bye.